Crosby from the corner, twisting and turning inside out. Beautiful move, trying to get the shot on. He holds, he shoots, he scores! Absolutely!
The pitch, high fly ball center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall. Goal!
Roethlisberger gives a run of room here. Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races inside the 30, the 20, the 10.
Oh, wow. 10-year anniversary logo by Anthony Veltri. I can say his name because A2's not here and Ryan's not here, both of our volunteers. Welcome to another live Pittsburgh Sports Line in the BPTV studio right here in the Bethel Park Municipal Building. Police station is right next door. They're keeping an eye on you-know-who. And I'm glad you're watching our show, only on Comcast 7 in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. Thanks for liking our Facebook page. We hit a new high, 6944.
Oh, man.
56 to go. That was the year I was born. We got 56, Smoking Jim, to hit 7K. This old timer knows, guess what? I can see you on the smartphone, my Z3. Like the page. Thank you very much. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. My allergies are cropping up on me. I got a 80-foot oak tree and a 70-foot silver maple throwing pollen all around. So I'm a little bit on the nasal side. Chip understands. We discussed that. We got Smoking Jim Frazier rocking his hateful pirate hat. He's not a pirate fan. He just got a hat for $2. We got Chip Hayner here. He's not on a hiatus. 2 weeks in a row, we set a new record for May. Second week here. Nick Callis. And again, Alan Levine, the talking machine. And we got some promos. We got Anthony on the camera. I'll hit the tape. And we'll see what he can do on this. Did you get my phone? Yeah. I need help. Never been this old before. All right, we'll see how this close-up is. Look at that close-up by Anthony. Olive Oil's Pizzeria sponsors our show with an XL pizza and a steak hoagie cut in 6 slices so we don't fight over it. Right at Hillcrest Shopping Center. Check it out. Great Italian food, desserts, lasagna, salads, you name it. Specialty gourmet pizzas. They got it all. Desserts, plenty of different drinks to have there. And I didn't see any Italian ice, so I don't know what's going on there. But check them out, 412-831-1900.
Did you see any Italians?
Yes, matter of fact, the Italian owner, Frank Fanero, his younger son, Frankie, who's a junior at Bethel Park, he made our pizza and hoagie. So thank you, Frankie. And we'll move on. Chip, great point. Next up, let's see what Anthony does on this one. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. Oh, we're good?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Look at that. Another great shot. We end each show with Stay Joey Strong to honor Joey Fabus, who died 9 years ago when he was 8 years old, or 7 years ago when he was 8 years old, just before his 9th birthday. Got it confused a little bit, and he had the dreaded brain cancer, DIPG. It's a death sentence for kids that are diagnosed with it. Within a year, they're dead. So was he. The family suffered. Just a terrible disease. And they created the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. It's a 501c3. You can donate money. And for anybody except Smoking Jim, you can write it off on your taxes. It's tax deductible. Just had to share that. And their biggest event is the Joey Fabus Superhero 5K walk, 1 mile run at the Bethel Park High School, like the third week of September on a Sunday. I filmed it each year except when I was on my hiatus for a week or two after my kidney transplant. And we interview the superheroes. It's their largest fundraiser of the year. You dress up as a superhero. Joey loved the superheroes, and he's wearing a Superman in this promo. So it's just very apropos for him. They've raised a couple $100,000 that they gave to Dr. Gary, who he had just a meeting the other day that they're getting close on finding something that can help these young kids with DIPG to live a little longer, to even help get rid of the cancer. So we'll see, and stay tuned to that. All right, next up, another 501c3 right here in Bethel Park. Anthony's on fire. He's done well so far. Let's see what we got here. Excellent. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center.
Not a hair out of place.
We got to bring him in front of the camera. Put that head in front of that camera, will you? Just lean. It's at 2600 South Park Road. Can't miss it. Red and white trolley is there. It's been parked there for years. And the building is a 1905 original schoolhouse. Been refurbished from top to bottom, windows, remodeling. Even has a community foundation, which I'm a trustee, auditorium on the top floor, has a dance studio, has my favorite tea place, Reginald's Coffee. They have chairs outside that people are sitting in there, and Smoking Jim can even put his Wi-Fi on. I heard it works up there, so check it out. And their coffee is so good. They have their own roaster right there. They get coffee from all over the world, and they roast it in their roaster, and I got hundreds of friends that tell me it's better than Starbucks. Sorry to Jonathan on the ones and twos, but they all swear it's better than Starbucks, just so you know. And that's it for that. Next up, we have another great 501c3 called Always B, and the B means Bennett. He died at 16 and a half years ago, or 16 and a half years old. He suffered many handicaps, had 2 kidney transplants, one from his dad, Dean, and he lived to be 16 and a half, always had a smile on his face, hence the Always B in honor Bennett, smiling. Friends of mine keep liking the page, so thank you. I think we're up to 1,200 likes on their page. When they first told me, we were about 800, so I appreciate all of you honoring this great 501c3. They're doing great things with families with disabilities in our local area. So check them out. And keep liking that page, because I'll keep promoting them. All right, we got a bigger sheet right here for Anthony. Let's see what he does on the big sheet. Can he do it, folks? Wow, I want you for BPTV. Look at that close-up. For everybody except Smoking Jim, Dave Cable had fun put my face on Uncle Sam, an iconic figure in American history. And at Gateway, Smoking Jim never went to those historical classes. He was in the weight room, faking it. They said if you don't make it, fake it. He did. Just so you know, 412-831-3304. Tell Dave Cable you're a student at Bethel Park or a local high school in the area, and you want to learn how to film TV shows and do audio shows of your own. You can actually be a producer and a host of your own show like me. You could be like Alan Levine, the talking machine. So call Dave Cable, tell him you want to work here at BPTV part-time. Whoa, almost made a mistake there. So, all right. We got another positive little, excuse me, with these allergies. It's a struggle. We'll see how Anthony does on this. He's on fire tonight. Kathleen Miller, look at that. Great close-up of Kathleen Miller. Lives at a community on Boyce Road there, Friendship Village. She had kidney problems. A social worker friend of mine said to call. Well, I have a new friend, Kathleen Miller, told her to give us a flyer. Last year we started promoting it, and after a few months she said she thinks somebody that saw it on our TV show, because we got thousands of you watching out there, so thank you for watching our shows each time we're up and throughout the week. I do appreciate that. And she got a living donor, which my son is my living donor, my hero. Right now he's under the weather with something called bronchitis, so we'll let Smokin' Jim look that up. It's not deadly, it's just an illness. So he's doing well, and she will have a living donor when her kidney function gets down to 15 like mine was, and we'll find out who her great donor was if they want to let it out. So that would be great. All right, last promo for this segment. All right, I think he got it. Look at that. Wanted, Bethel Park groups and organizations who need money. I won't read the fine print to you, but they have grant money for you doing great things with your groups in Bethel Park. $100 to yes, $5,000. So you can get money for your group doing great things in Bethel Park. We've given out over $1 million in 26 years, and we give out $100,000 to $200,000 a year, helping other communities in our area. We just had a party in the park at the South Park Theater. We donated money for a parking lot and some other features outside of it from the Community Foundation. So go to bpcf.org, get your application, and we meet once every 2 months. So come on in there and say you saw it on Pittsburgh Sportsline. I'll put a good vote in for you. Just share that. Now we go to one of our favorite segments. It starts our show. What's on your mind, Smokin' Jim Frazier?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at you.
you got to see
I took it
Levine.
easy on you. I gave a little lob.
Hey, we forgot to mention it last week, but happy belated Mother's Day to all the moms.
No,
out
you
there.
mentioned it.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard you before you went nonsensical. Amy in the bakery at Giant Eagle, thanks for watching. Ralph, hello,
My man,
buddy.
Ralph.
We
That's
got
my man.
Ralph here. Heard he had to cancel a show with you the other day or something.
I don't think so.
Okay, because I get so many notices, I don't know what's going on there. Ralph, you got to clarify something. All right. But thanks for watching us each week, and we appreciate you guys.
But I tell you what, man, it's good to have white friends. I always say Al Levine, the talking machine.
Disclaimer right off the bat.
You don't think so?
I have to explain that Bethel Park has certain opinions and facts that they talk about. And why I do the disclaimer is he does not represent anybody here and even on the show except for himself. He's a large black gentleman that is named Smokin' Jim Frazier, and it's not his government name. So this is what he goes by. This is why I do my disclaimers. It's not humorous, except I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah, well,
Because it's nonstop. So you can say what you want, but I have to disclaim it because it's not our opinions.
Ralph loves when you do that. But
That's a good shout out to Ralph. You appreciate it.
But I got a call from Pittsburgh Sportsline Hall of Famer Dan Bogan. He said he had some free tickets for me at professional boxing out in Murraysville.
I'm glad he cut me out.
He
What am I, chopped liver?
Because he knew Monroeville, Murraysville was very close. But I had a great time, Al Levine, the talking machine. But who knew at the very same time that I'm watching professional boxing in Murraysville, Canelo Alvarez is getting ripped off, here for his title. Listen, this is a guy, Al Levine, the talking machine, that was hated in his native country, Mexico, because he got red hair. He won the first 13 fights by knockout, and they didn't even record it. So he really got his first 25 fights, he had all knockouts. He comes to this country that hates redheads, and he got to suffer through that. Al Levine.
Where's
the
your
talking
example
machine.
of a redhead that they, oh, I remember that guy that played at Cincinnati as a quarterback.
and Al Levine, the talking machine. Now, this guy fights he goes from 130 pounds all the way up to light heavyweight. The judges score the first 4 rounds in favor of Canelo Alvarez, all 3 judges, and he ends up losing the fight, Al Levine, the talking
How many
machine.
rounds was it?
well,
It was a
maybe-
12-round fight.
Maybe
That's
he should
why.
have took care of business instead of clowning in the ring and mugging.
See, this country hates redheads.
Has nothing to do with the color of his hair. Hey, you know what? He didn't take He didn't take his chosen profession seriously.
Well,
Smoking Jim, you done?
well, I just one last thing.
Maybe not.
In
I
my
have to disclaim
opinion,
it.
Canelo is one of the top 5 greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time. The greatest is Sugar Ray Robinson, and at 31 years old, Sugar Ray Robinson went for the light heavyweight championship of the world against Joey Maximum, and he ended up losing almost on the exact same night. Alvarez is 31 too.
Smoking Jim,
What
I
robbery?
appreciate history.
Highway robbery.
You know history, but you're forgetting one of the greatest Pittsburgh boxers that fought from 130 to heavyweights.
Billy Conn.
No, Harry Greb
Harry
and
Greb,
Billy
okay.
Conn.
Harry Greb, yeah.
The Pittsburgh Windmill, he fought black, white, anything you could call names and whatever else.
Redheads,
He didn't
blondes,
care.
brunettes.
He didn't care who they were.
That's true.
And he even fought with only one eye. He lost an eye in one of his fights, never told anybody, and he ended up fighting. But I have to
If Canelo had dark hair,
disclaim,
he'd be undefeated.
I have to give another official disclaimer, probably 2. One is on his opinion on Canelo. I disagree with that, personally, and it doesn't represent our studio. And number 2 is point of all that. I lost it. So I have to disclaim my knowledge on that. I actually know less after he told us that. So I got to move on. Chip Hayner, please, what's on your mind?
First and foremost, I hate the DH. It's ruining the game of baseball.
Whoa.
Okay. With that being said, a little
Hold
bit.
it, we got to do a disclaimer on Chip.
No, we don't have to, because that's how I feel. Alan,
It's
a little
opinion.
bit of moose, and you'll go full-blown Einstein on us. I couldn't leave it alone.
Thank
But
you. I got
once again, as a
Thank you.
as a member of this show, I have to admit I was wrong again.
Whoa, write this day down.
Right? I was wrong again. Last Tuesday night, I said during our show, probably during our closing, that the Penguins are going to get swept out of the playoffs
Yes,
by
you
the
did.
New York Rangers.
Yes.
1 week later, look where the Penguins sit right now. They're 3-1, and they're on the verge of eliminating the New York Rangers. Yeah. What happened Tuesday night? One of the greatest games in Penguin playoff history.
Yes.
The Rangers came out, and in the first few minutes of the game, they punched the Penguins right in the mouth and hit them repeatedly, and the Penguins didn't blink. And they fought their way back through 3 overtimes, and Evgeny Malkin woke up from the dead and
He is the Walking Dead.
and put in the game winner. Now, you look at what's happened. The Rangers came back and won game 2.
Yeah.
So the Penguins earned the all-important split on the road, which is what you want to do in a playoff series.
Great point.
They came back home, and somebody turned on the power at PPG Paints Arena.
Yeah.
Those were
Hey,
two
hey,
of the
Anthony,
loudest
I got to interrupt
crowds.
you. Can we get a shot just of Chip? Because we're showing Smoking Jim's writing and stuff, so I don't know what he's preparing for. I don't want to give away any secrets.
Those were two,
can't do a close-up
those were
on Chip?
two of the loudest crowds that PPG
that
Paints
okay?
Arena has ever seen.
I don't see it.
Okay, there we go.
Because
Two of
he's
the
making
loudest
great
crowds.
points. Yes.
Two of the loudest crowds.
Did they make a difference, Chip?
I believe they did make a difference, and if you look at the way that Penguins
keep running.
dismantled the Rangers last night, they played probably one of their best defensive games of the year.
And how about the Igor that they were saying?
2 games in a row, they sent him to the bench early. Now, there was a lot of tipped-in goals and stuff like that last night, but if you watched the third period last night,
I did.
the Rangers had thrown in the towel.
They
only
did.
had 5 shots on goal in the third period.
The stick was away.
And the Penguins took the game away from them. So all of that being said,
You were wrong.
I believe that tomorrow night is going to be a game worth watching because the Rangers coach came out in his post-game press conference and called his team soft.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest insult that you could play
To hockey players.
to hockey players who are full of machismo, right? So, you know.
And they give it.
And,
they give
and,
it.
and the Rangers are going to come out, and they are going to go toe-to-toe with the Penguins. And if the Penguins continue to play hockey the way they've played, the first 4 games, the Penguins are going to come out on top. So look forward to tomorrow night. Real good chance to close them out in 5, but don't count the Rangers out. But I'm telling
Their
you what,
back is against the wall.
the Penguins are showing their playoff experience, and it's good to be wrong every now and then.
Great point, because
Good job, Chip.
our buddy next to you never admits he's wrong. He's just disrespected.
No, wait. He told me he
He's
was
just
wrong.
disrespected.
No, he told me he was wrong once, but he was mistaken.
No, he didn't know to do that. He didn't know to say that. He's just
I'm only right 97% of the time.
That's a pretty.
disclaimer. It's more like 97% in error. Just saying. We're gonna go to Nick, and if we can get a close up on Nick Callis, what's on your mind?
Well,
Big arms.
the Penguins, big arms. You haven't mentioned my arms in a while. Thank you for that.
He was remiss on Canelo and the red hair.
Oh yeah, well,
You know he gets on tangents.
because you were looking at my shirt. 'Cause
Yeah.
you don't like that my shirt's red.
No, he's.
Just the red heads are the problem. Okay, just making sure.
Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome. So,
And our fans appreciate that.
my prediction that the Steelers, or not the Steelers, my prediction the Penguins are going to the Eastern Conference Finals might come true, because they're going to get past the first round in all likelihood. Not going to jinx
Hold
them.
it.
Don't wanna
Here's
jinx
here's
them.
a first on our second. The last time that Nick agreed with Chip was June 21st, 21. And that was the last time that he officially agreed
Well,
with Chip.
Chip and I differed last week because I was a little bit like,
No,
I think the
I'm
Penguins
going
will
back
go
to 21.
No,
So I keep records, so I will have to write it down.
No, I meant we disagreed last week on this because I was like, I have more faith in the Penguins. Everybody's being a little pessimistic just because it's been a wishy-washy season, so that's fine. I understand the pessimism, but I just thought, something about the team is a little crazy this year. Maybe they're going to do a little bit better than they have in recent years past.
How about effort?
Well, that, and they don't have an experienced goalie, which is crazy. I think it's
King
crazy.
Louis.
Yeah, I like the guy.
Can I butt in 1 second
You can.
on that point?
Sure.
Here's what I noticed. The end of the year, our defense wasn't that good in protecting Jari and DeSmith. Now, first 5 minutes of the game, they're on everybody. Towards the end of the game, when the Rangers gave up, they were still on every player. Now, that's a difference that I noticed with defensemen, because like I've been saying, as a lineman, center in high school, just get in front of a guy.
Do you
That's
think
all I
they're
wanna see.
playing up because they
But-
have a weakness at goalie?
Yes.
But-
Okay, so
Yeah, he's a third-string goaltender.
Thank you.
You probably play defense less stringently when you've got your number 1.
My point.
Or your number 2 in. You put your third stringer in, you got no choice. You got to give up your body.
So that's what's so good about the Penguins right now. They're playing up because of maybe the circumstances they have. But again, the season has just been so wacky. I had some faith. I had some faith that is now I learned is not misguided. So I hope they're going to continue to do well. And I still am holding my prediction they'll make it to the conference finals. Quick note on the Pirates. I don't know what to think about the Pirates this year. This is getting kind of crazy. They lose 2 of 3 to the Reds, who now have just 5 wins on the season in a month. So that's kind of tough. But they beat the Dodgers in a great pitcher's duel yesterday. So, what's going on there? I still think the team's exciting. I also think that Colin Moran played a big role in the series. He got hot during the Pirates series, and he continued to get hot in the series after the one with the Pirates. So, they're entertaining to watch or follow.
Hold it.
It's crazy.
Were you hanging around Chip?
No.
No,
I came into this season because
but
with this season,
I shared my Kool-Aid.
Okay.
with
It's appreciated.
but with this season,
Good point.
they started making acquisitions that seemed to make sense. Jake Marisnik, great addition, great defender.
What a defensive army has out
Roberto
there, too.
Perez, I was a little skeptical on because they pretty much just traded the guy away that is pretty much Roberto Perez, and I know he's hurt now, but there were just acquisitions they were making. There were big name players. There were players that I recognize that they put on the team, and that's just
Hold it.
what you
Who
want
is this Charrington? Why was he hired?
to do better than Neil Huntington did in his last 3 years as the GM. So there's
I
some
second that emotion.
So right now they're entertaining to watch. I'm not gonna full send on
them
the
more
hype because
Kool-Aid.
I know that this year's kind of still not balanced. There's a lot of inconsistencies in the team, but I find them entertaining right now, which is great. Recognizable
Hold it.
names.
How old are you?
23.
Okay.
See, you know, but and just to speak to your point, Nick, yes, they are an extremely exciting team to watch. They will lose more games than they win this year, but I can tell you this: I haven't seen them quit yet, with the exception of the 3-touchdown game that they lost in Chicago.
Yeah.
That was an aberration. But every other game that they've played, they play their hearts out.
And a little side note on that 3-touchdown game, Smokin' Jim wrote on a plate, and I think Nick saved it because Smokin' Jim was so proud that he could write 21-0.
But you defended them the week before. You said it was just one game.
But the funny thing about 21-0 was that we won 3 out of 4 against the Cubs in the Windy City.
He missed that.
Well, yeah, because it's
Last year,
I mean,
last year when the Pirates 12-12 to start the season, 12-12.
Pardon me?
When they 12-12 to start the season last year.
No, I think it was 12-13 when
they're
they
actually
started.
12-16 right now.
Okay, that's not as good as last year, but they're.
But they're in third place right now.
I like the relief.
The
pitching.
Reds have won 5 games a
I like
month.
I like the
In about
relief.
30 games, the Reds have won 5.
He likes
They
the
won
Reds.
6. Reds won 6.
No, they didn't.
I've been betting on them. They got 6 wins.
I'll check that. I actually.
I'm a bettor. I'm a professional
That's what's
gambler.
on my
Take my
mind now.
word.
Yeah, he's
I'm right 97% of the time.
He's professionally
Disclaimer.
broke. He's professionally
Disclaimer.
broke.
Last year,
I've been making money
last
on the
year
Reds.
he was a little weak.
You're right.
Thank you.
Okay, they won 6 games.
All right, he's allowed to
6
be.
and
But
23.
here's a disclaimer. Normally he'd give us 7 to 10 mortal locks because I've been busting his you-know-whats. And last year he only gave us 5 mortal locks, and he won 1. I keep records, so do you get 97% out of 1 out of 5? Isn't that 20%? He's off by 77%. I rest my case. No disclaimer on false logic. You win. Chief just said Pens always seem to crack tough goalies, and he loves the show. Thanks, Chief. We love you, too, for being a good fan there. And I got to do on a sad note, a friend of mine was in that tree accident that hit by the Sunoco while we
Over
were in
here
our
on McMurray
studio.
Road.
He was president of my union, one of my best friends for over 30 years.
48 years he worked at the
Yeah,
press.
and he was the local president. We were such good friends. I'm 6 foot tall. He's 6'5". They would go, "Here comes Bert and Ernie." They called us Bert and Ernie, and I go, "Who's who?" He goes, "You're Ernie, he's Bert." So, but yeah, it's very sad. He left a wife and 2 daughters, went to Bethel Park High School, and the one daughter just got married a couple weeks ago. So my prayers go out to the Sanko family. I was friends with his dad and mom. I got to see his mom was still alive, and she remembered talking to me and my family over the years. And I'm still in shock that it happened 2 minutes from our studio.
It happened right at the same time that we were kicking off our
It was,
show
yeah.
last Tuesday night.
No, I know. And after our show,
With all the bad weather.
well, Smokin' Jim, where he got hit, I went to the intersection the next day. They said a 70-foot tree hit it. It was a tree across the street. It hit his vehicle, his van, crushed his van. His wife, Vicky, didn't get injured. 6 other people's cars got crushed. 7 people walked away. He was the only death there. So very sad, heartbreaking to know somebody and be friends like we are.
You know, while we're sitting here laughing and joking last week, he was undergoing that tragedy. Because that
Truly.
storm, I'll tell you what, driving here last Tuesday
You
night,
saw what happened.
I couldn't see. I was down by Millennial Park, and I couldn't see past the hood of my car. And I was sitting there saying to myself, this probably wasn't such a good idea to venture out knowing that this storm was coming through. I saw a couple of trees topple over, but nothing
Right.
that size. So, you know,
No,
it
but
was,
that had to be a 70-foot tree to hit it, and cars were all, busted up, and he was dead.
I mean,
So-
I've driven in a lot of storms, and last
Me
Tuesday
too.
night was frightening.
Yeah. No, it was. Luckily, I'm only 5 minutes away, so it wasn't that bad. But, my respect to all the family and friends, and I've run into a couple people that were like friends of friends, and here they were talking about at the post office. They were saying this one young guy went to school with the daughters.
I was writing when I was reading that article the next day. I was wondering if it was somebody you knew because of his connection with the press.
Best
for
friends.
48 years.
Yeah, best friends there. Yep. He was 2 years younger than me. So we were friends 30-plus years. Definitely. So very sad. Wanted to just get that out of the way. And I guess I got to say something, right?
Sure.
What's on my mind is Attila Domos, our paraplegic, 3-time hand cycling Pittsburgh Marathon winner. Smoking Jimmy called me up and he goes, would you want to talk Penguins after the Penguins game the next day? So 2 Penguin games ago I did. The last couple days ago we talked and he goes, we got 7 goals. Can we do it again? I go, well, we got the bottom 6 started to contribute. We got good goaltending by our young man there who likes the, spicy pork and broccoli and all that stuff. Now you can get it everywhere. And I predicted that they would win the game last night. I said if we get 6 or 7 points from the top line and we get a little better goaltending, which we did, and we play defense like we can, in the first 5 minutes I'll know if we're going to win. Here they scored a goal, but they still won because like Chip was saying, how gritty they were the whole game.
Let's not forget, they got a lot of contributions from the bottom 6. They've got contributions from the top 6. And Sidney Crosby is showing why he has been one of the best players in the NHL. Sid has shown up for the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs.
Claps the Ovechkin fan.
I think he's better. I'm entitled to my opinion.
Yeah, but we don't know why when.
200 goals more.
Yeah, but Smoking
We
Jim,
already explained this.
does anybody pull up the tape from a
One
month
cup.
ago?
Why
One
y'all
cup
hating on
and
the
3
white
cups.
man? Why y'all hating on the white man? Because he's Russian?
Smoking Jim, disclaimer, we're all white. I'm not hating on him. I told you on a show, but you have CTE damage, so you don't remember. When Sid scored his 1,400th point,
Oh, my
I said, Smoking Jim, I saw on the score, Ovechkin was ahead of him by 200 goals and 3 points. He had 1,403 points. And he's still stunned now because it's like telling him for the first time,
But
how
aren't-
bad is Crosby?
Aren't both of them good?
Here's what, no.
You're not both good?
He's good at one thing.
Oh,
Right side of the goaltender, he takes a slap shot and he scores more than anybody.
bail me out.
Sid lifts up other teammates. He makes other players better. He plays a 200-foot game.
The difference between the two of them is Sid is a playmaker and Ovechkin is a goal scorer.
Yeah.
Is Ovechkin good? That's all I want to know.
Of course he's good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course
Thank
he's good.
You missed the whole thing about hockey. We can't even talk hockey with him.
Let me preface that. Who would I rather have on my team? Crosby every day of the week.
I second that.
Motion passes.
Me and the captain, we like Ovechkin.
No, he's shaking his
Well,
head no.
I'm supposed to talk to Attila tonight. He does a Facebook Live on his page. So I told him it won't be till about 8:30 tonight. So I'm going to get a hold of him because he goes, if you call the win, I'll pull up your clips because I said they're going to win. So the talking machine got one right on that, spot on with how they produced.
Bleed black and
Because
gold.
like we all watch the games.
Yes.
And I'm pretty okay with being wrong.
Very good. And then Smoking Jim, Attila asked, would you join me and Attila? He'll give you a link on Messenger, and then you can be on Facebook with that Mac Pro. Have your camera on. You can have your camera on, because I have my camera on, and it gives us a full shot of.
go up to Reginald's Coffee, they got free Wi-Fi.
Right. So if you get that Mac Pro, oh, it's set up, but it's not working yet. But he asked if you could be on, and I said, I'll ask him. But I told him he has extenuating circumstances. Sweeties are first, computer is 31st.
No, New Kensington is third.
Yes. And we won't tell you what her name is. All right, one last thing on that, and then we'll move forward. Tony from Chick-fil-A goes, can Smokin' Jim name any current Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher? No. Since he wears the hat, must know who playing on the team. No.
Do you know? No, I'll give him a chance.
Yeah, come on.
I love
There's
the-
one Pirates starting pitcher that has a victory this year. Do you know what his name is?
I'm a relief man. I love the relief.
No, you're a Vita Blue man. He was a starter and he was a left-hander.
He pitched 50 years ago.
Tony,
not now.
sorry.
And not for the Pirates.
Sorry, we're gonna have to move on. We gotta go in 10 seconds to Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. What a session!
I'm going to do my top 5 most hated boxers
That's 10.
in the history of boxing.
I got Nick's counter ready.
Number 5C. Tank
That's 7.
Davis.
That we're at 7.
Number 5B, Jake Paul. Number 5A, Andrew Galata. Number 5, Larry Holmes, who beat.
That was
Wait, you did
that was
5
4 on.
names, and then 5. You've never done that before.
Guess what? Hold it. We got a disclaimer. He said only 5. By our count with Nick, he's done 4. He can only tell us one more.
Number 4 is Sonny Liston. Number 3 is Ricardo Mayorga. Number 2 is number 2B is Adrian Broner. Number 2A, Jack Johnson, and the most hated boxer ever, and I love him
He didn't do it too.
because of his red head, is Canelo Alvarez, most hated guy.
Jonathan, look at the counter. That's 9.
How about Ivan Drogo?
That's 9.
yeah, that'd have been good.
He got my vote.
9.
All right, we have to disclaim a statement with only 5. All of you know this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, and
you
5.
like Canelo?
How about this is Smoking Jim?
5C, B, A, and 5. Just the number.
This is number 9. If you're looking, number 9.
I had the over on 10.
You were good.
I had the over on 10.
You were good. Amy from the bakery at Giant Eagle, who's off today, 5-0. Pirates are losing. Thanks for that bad news.
5-0.
I may go to the doubleheader tomorrow
wow.
at 12:30.
That's not going to happen.
There isn't a doubleheader tomorrow.
Well, if they're playing at 12:30, they're not going to play 2.
No.
It's a nice day. Play 2.
You
Ernie
don't
Banks.
understand.
yeah.
Ernie Banks.
Oh, look at
It's a
that.
beautiful day.
All right, we gotta
play
go
2.
10 seconds. We're gonna check out Chip Painter's trivia time.
Welcome back, everybody. And just to reiterate something I brought up last week. Last week I talked about the attributes of Miguel Cabrera,
Yeah.
who
Is it
became-
DH?
No, he's a first baseman. His career was spent as a first baseman. Yes.
Well,
so
he's a
now,
DH now, so they're splitting
So
hairs
anyhow,
Hold
yeah,
it. What were you 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Some kid in diapers.
his first 20.
We
his
don't
first-
say you're a diaper boy.
His first 2,700 hits were as a first baseman. So Miguel Cabrera
both
last
you.
week, you know,
You're welcome.
500 home runs, 3,000 base hits, a 300 average, and he's the only exclusive member of the club that has won a triple crown with all those other feats. Well, he added something else onto his
Oh
mantelpiece.
my goodness.
Saturday, history was made again.
What did he do? I missed this.
Okay, so he became the third player in Major League Baseball history to have 3,000 base hits, 500 home runs, and 600 doubles.
600
He
doubles.
hit a double on Saturday for his 600th double. The other two players
Who are
in
they?
Major League Baseball history, one of them is making his swan song in St. Louis this year, is Albert Pujols.
Wow.
And the other one is perhaps the greatest player to ever play the game, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays.
Wow.
Which brings me to my trivia for today.
600 homers and 600 doubles. Who's that?
There you go. Willie Howard Mays Jr.,
How'd I
born May 6, 1931. Why did I bring him up? Because May 6th was his 91st birthday. 91st birthday, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. He was a professional baseball center fielder, spent almost all of his 22 seasons playing for the New York/San Francisco Giants
Yeah.
before finishing his career with the New York Mets in 1972, 1973. Regarded as one of the greatest baseball players of all time, elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1979. He batted right, he threw right. His professional debut was in 1948 for the Birmingham Black Barons.
Wow. The Negro League.
Yes, sir. His major league debut was May 25th,
Smoking
1951,
Jim likes when I say that.
for the New York Giants.
What's wrong?
Interestingly enough, he spent 2 years serving for the United States Army in Korea before his career started in earnest in 1954. His career batting average was .302, 3,283 hits, 660 home runs, 1,903 runs batted in, 338 stolen bases. And it has been said that had he not played the bulk of his career in windy Candlestick Park, if he would have played in any other major league stadium, he would have had 800 home runs.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And that's 600 doubles. That's why I guessed your trivia. 600 doubles and 600 homers.
So the teams he played for were the Birmingham Black Barons, 48 to 1950, the New York San Francisco Giants from 51 to 52, 53 he served in Korea,
Yeah.
54 to 72, the New York Mets from 72 to 73. Just some of his career highlights and awards.
Wow.
24-time All-Star from 1954 to 1973. World Series champion in 1954, where he made what they refer to as the catch. And if you want to know what the catch is, look it up. It happened at the Polo Grounds against the Cleveland Indians.
Hold it.
Vic
Smoking
Wertz.
Jim can't. His computer doesn't work yet.
Oh, well.
Ha! Ha! That's great. That's great.
I mean,
That was
it's
good.
new, right?
Two times National League MVP, 1954, 1965.
Wow.
National League Rookie of the Year in 1951. 12 times Gold Glove winner from 1957 to 1968. Won the Roberto Clemente Award in 1971. National League batting champion in 1954. 4 times was a home run leader. 4 times National League stolen base leader. Hit 4 home runs in one game on April 30th, 1961. His number 24 is retired by the San Francisco Giants. He was on the Major League Baseball All-Century team, the Major League Baseball All-Time team, and has a Major League record, 7,095 putouts as an outfielder.
You're kidding me.
Um,
That's amazing in itself.
And, you know, all of these attributes, okay, and when he was voted into the Hall of Fame, he got 94.7% of the vote.
Who voted against them?
Well, I mean, the same meathead that voted against, who was it, Derek Jeter?
Yeah.
And Barry
Yeah.
Bonds.
He's not even eligible.
He ran out.
Hey,
And
Michelle,
the interesting thing,
He ran out.
Willie Mays is Gary Bonds' godfather
yeah.
because Bobby Bonds played with Willie
were good
Mays at
friends.
the end of his career at San Francisco, and Willie Mays doesn't even think that Barry belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Well,
How
hey,
about
Machine.
that?
Hey,
Yeah.
Machine. Didn't it break you and Chip's heart to see it 72 and 73 see Willie Mays stumbling around in the outfield?
It was
Didn't it?
it
It
was
broke my heart.
it was heartbreaking to see Willie
didn't even
Mays.
see it.
He's just like another
Smoking Jim, you didn't even see it.
a
How do
number
you know
a number.
that?
Now, and one last thing before I go,
Okay.
I talked about how I hated the DH.
Yes.
Last year, with the DH in one league and pitchers batting in the next league, they had the lowest batting average since 1968 in the Major League Baseball. So you would think, with the universal DH, where do you think this year's batting average is in comparison to last year's?
Even lower.
Lower.
Oh, great. That's a great tie-in.
Wow.
Let's go.
No,
The
I
dead
got to
ball.
interrupt you on 1 second.
Oh.
My friend Jim Ellenbogen, he's the wild caught guy, loves my wild caught meals. So he goes, Wildcott don't agree any ex-pug knows Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the listed hated boxer of all time. Great comment, and you're so spot on, Jim. Thanks for being a fan of our show and giving us some of that wisdom you have. All right, now let's go in 10 seconds to Nick.
Oh boy, I have an opinion today. So, I saw something on MLB Network that was posted last year that was brought to my attention because of a YouTuber I watched doing some analysis. And now I'm upset. And here's why. Because Billy Ripken and some people on MLB Network did a whole segment. I don't think this segment was malicious, but it was just terrible in baseball analytics. Here's what they did. They took pictures from the late 80s and early 90s, and they framed them up with pictures from today. And the thesis was, are pitchers throwing harder now, actually, and are hitters terrible because the pitches are the same from before to now? And they would do a frame by frame. So they'd put like...
You mean they look the same?
Yeah, so like,
Okay.
here, I'll explain. So they would put like Randy Johnson up against Garrett Cole, and they would say, okay, Randy Johnson's throwing 95, Garrett Cole's allegedly throwing 99, but the pitches, when you watch them frame by frame, are getting from the hand to the glove at the same time. So what's 4 miles per hour? And it's just like that. They were using the deception of the frames to make it look like the pitches were coming in together.
Why were
Here's-
you upset?
Because their thesis is that the hitters are actually terrible now in baseball,
They
and
are.
that 4 miles an hour isn't actually that big of a difference. And that's just not true. Because when you put something together in frame by frame, first of all, they had 30 frame per second video on the old games because there wasn't 60 frames per second like we have now. And the problem with that is when you watch video, even when you're watching this right now, you're watching frames coming at you to deceive you into thinking that motion's happening, but really you're just watching a bunch of pictures in a row, right? So when you watch video frame by frame at 30 frames per second, you're not seeing all of the feet that a ball travels, so the velocity takes no effect in an image because you're just looking at feet traveled by the frames per second. But if you do frames per second divided by feet traveled, let's say it's somebody's extension, like 54 feet over 30 frames per second, you've got a margin of error somewhere between like 2 and 3 feet per frame.
Nick, some of this is beyond me and probably a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
And like I just watched the Kentucky Derby. You know, I'm a big horse aficionado.
Yeah.
The horse was back in the back of the pack, was 80-1, and when he come down to the last eighth of a mile, the horses, if you took them separately, would all look like they're running the same. And what you're saying is a ball being thrown, here's the ball, here's the frame. You can't tell how fast it's going. Here's my point. This horse was 5 or 6 lengths back here, and here's the other horses. He ended up passing them at the end of the line, at the finish line, and won. But if you're just showing that horse, you wouldn't have known he'd won unless the other horses were in the video of it.
Exactly. So
That's what I'm trying to clarify
So-
what you're explaining, because you were losing even me
yeah, okay.
on how
I
it
was
looked.
following him good.
But you
I
didn't
hope you were, but-
yeah, but Smoking Jim, is this moving?
No, you're just
Yeah,
seeing
97 miles an hour.
you're just seeing pictures coming at you. But
No, did this move? Then you didn't understand
No,
it.
that was 88.
all right.
That's the difference.
No, so
there we go.
Yeah, so
But
they,
thanks,
they were
Smoker.
using frames instead of real motion and real velocity to say that a 95 mile per hour pitch was the same as a 99. And realistically, you could do that with any stature of pitcher. I think this guy, you could put Tyler Glass now throwing a fastball at 99 miles per hour as fast as Marcus Stroman, who's shorter.
Why are you mentioning all these ex-Pirates?
They're not expert. Marcus Stroman wasn't. But you
No,
could
Tyler
in the
Glass
right
now.
in the right.
Tyler Glass now.
Well, because he's one of the pitchers who, in comparison.
No, but
'cause
you're
he's-
mentioning.
I was mentioning
It
like,
breaks my heart that they're all ex-Pirates.
if
I'm
so,
getting emotional on this.
So yeah, with the
Carry on.
yeah. So when you do a frame by frame comparison, you're not getting the full motion. When real motion happens, velocity is calculated, and 4 miles an hour matters. So that's my point. But they're using this argument to say that pitchers now might be worse, or that hitters are worse because 4 miles an hour doesn't make a difference, or as many as 8 to 10 miles an hour doesn't make a difference on pitches, which it obviously
Hold it,
does.
can I give you my example that you liked earlier?
Okay.
You're going down the road, the speed limit's 65 miles an hour, right?
Yes.
So you're showing a frame of Jim at 65 miles an hour, and I'm going by at 69 miles an hour. The police pull me over, but they don't pull Jim over.
Because you're going faster.
Is that the point of that?
Kind of. It is kind of the point. But, like, obviously he's going faster, but in
Just
the right,
thought I'd make a point.
in the right circumstances, when you put them together, you might
I
have
rest
the
my
pitch
case.
going from the hand to the glove at the same time, but that doesn't mean that the velocities are the same. That doesn't mean that the variables in that comparison are accurate, but they're very deceiving. And I hate when Major League Baseball or certain older fans, they bring up all the glory of the past and don't acknowledge the greatness that we have now because of whatever reason. But nobody asked for any of these guys to be jealous from people from the past, from people to now. Nobody asked for us to do these comparisons from era to era. That's why we have different eras.
But
It's inevitable that there will be improvement in sports over time. We don't sit in the Olympics, and when somebody breaks a world record, we're not surprised by that because we expect athletes to get better. Same thing with pitchers. The average pitcher is throwing harder now by 2 miles an hour since 2008. 2008, it was 91.9 miles an hour, now to 93.7. So it's a good thing that the average pitcher is getting better. Okay, athletes tend to get better over time, which is fine. And not saying that the eras from before weren't good. But, I mean, when you look at these stats and when you do what Chip does and you bring the league average into play, sure, Major League Baseball's league average in 2021 was 244, which might not look great to, like, years past where it was in the 270s. But look at all the other factors into play here. In 1920, the league only hit 630 home runs, and now you've got 5,929. So there's clearly run production going in there that wasn't there before. Runs scored, 21,972 in 2021 compared to 10,762 in 1920. And how about this? If we're talking about the hitters who might be getting bad because the average is down, the ERA since 1920 has consistently gone up from 347 to 426. So are they all just getting worse? I really don't think so, because back in an era in 1920 when Babe Ruth played, they only played 145 games in a single season. And to be fair, I've talked about this before, how pitching was different in the game. Babe Ruth never saw a slider. Babe Ruth never saw a slurve. The cutter wasn't invented. The splitter wasn't invented. Some pitches from Japan that were invented and now have been brought to Major League Baseball weren't there. So, like, let's stop being jealous from era to era and let's sit back and just be like, hey, this is the game now. Okay? It's impossible to compare era to era, but simple stats like, let's just say the batting average is lower in the league doesn't mean that run production isn't a huge factor.
Okay, can I interrupt you for a minute? I know you're on a roll, but I couldn't disagree with you more because you're using a statistic that you say is the measuring stick for how much better pitchers are than they were in the past.
No.
And yes, you are.
No.
Stop. Let me finish.
No.
You're saying velocity is everything.
No.
And velocity is the
No.
least important
No.
in the quality of pitching.
I just said
There's
pitches
two
were
factors,
invented since
the two factors
1920.
that are most
Pitchers are getting
important.
better.
The two most important factors are location and movement of the ball.
Stop.
Not
Stop.
velocity.
I'm making
Absolutely.
the argument that every player is getting better. And that
Actually, I think the quality in the major leagues is more diluted now because there's more AAA players playing in the major leagues because there were better players in the majors when there were fewer teams because only the best of the best made it to the majors, as opposed to now you've got a much more diluted product and there are people that are in the major leagues that shouldn't be.
Okay, so in that case, why are we worried about the 244 average? Why do you cite that all the time?
Well,
because if you have players that aren't ready yet.
Because players can't hit as well as they've hit in the past, and it's not because of the pitching. It's because everybody's trying to hit tape measure home runs instead of putting the ball in play, making contact with the ball.
They're trying to hit tape measure shots, and newsflash, they're succeeding at that. They're trading
right, and they're batting 230.
They're trading 30.
They're like
batting,
Dave Kingman.
Yeah.
They're trading 30
They're
batting.
like Kingman.
So
on average, they're trading 30 points for batting average
How
for
many
an
homers?
extra 4,300 home runs.
Yeah. To
30
strike
batting
out-
points.
Yeah.
30.
How many
30.
years in a row
30.
have strikeouts gone up in Major League
There, give 'em
Baseball?
a
There's
number.
a
Every single year they're setting a new record in
And
strikeouts.
every single
Is that because
and every
they're
other
better
year-
hitters?
Yes, it is consistent. There is a consistent trajectory between the number of strikeouts there are. Why are you laughing at me, Chip?
I'm not.
Because here's the
I
thing.
disagree
There's a
with you.
trajectory in strikeouts, but there's also an upward trajectory in home runs and run production. So I'll tell you, it's not.
And a reduction in batting average.
So one stat, which is the league average, has gone down by 30 points. 30. That's it. And we're talking about an increase since 100 years ago, 4,500 home runs and, 11,000 runs
So you'd
produced.
rather watch a game where there's 5 hits in
No,
the game
that's not the point.
and there are
That's
home
not the
runs?
point.
No.
No.
Or a
That's
game
not
where
the
there's
point.
25
Not the
hits
point.
and
Not
guys
the
running
point.
around the base
Not
and a
the
lot more
point.
action.
Not the point. Not the point. You're comparing an era where averages were
I'm
better
comparing
because
the game of baseball.
You're
not
comparing
an era.
eras.
No, I'm not.
This
I'm
is an
comparing
era right
the
now where
game of
power is
baseball.
prominent.
It's a game of baseball. It hasn't changed.
But it has. It definitely has.
has not.
Guess what? Polo Grounds
There's 90
had
feet
a
between the
480-foot
bases.
center field
There's 60
with
feet,
200
6 inches from the plate to the home.
No,
to
it
the
hasn't.
mound. Yes, there are. You've got 27 outs.
Chip,
and it
the
hasn't
game
changed.
of baseball has just not been the same since 1869. It just has not.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
the mound was
it's-
higher until Bob Gibson did freakishly well. In 1880,
No, not
the
just
called
Bob
strike
Gibson.
was invented. 12 years after the league was founded. Okay, so like it has changed.
I got to interrupt. No disclaimers by me, because baseball has the greatest statistical freaks in the world. Every stat you need is there. You guys can agree to disagree.
Well, we won't.
Till kingdom come. But I need to squeeze in my on-location report.
And I think analytics are ruining the game. But that's just my humble opinion.
Well, you both got your opinions out there. I respect both of you, and I'm glad we could have a discussion like this and still smile about it. Nick, great stuff.
Nick,
Chip,
no,
great counterpoints.
No hard feelings, buddy. I just disagree with your point of view.
And I got to do, Jonathan, you can forget about my graphic. They know On Location. It's no argument against A2. He did a great On Location. On Location, Master Zhang called me up the other day. He has a new gym in Bridgeville. It's opening up. He wanted Smokin' Jim and I to do it. Smokin' Jim got to do something for another gentleman somewhere. And I'm just going to be doing the show alone on May 28th at 2 o'clock. Nick, you might need a camera for me to
I gotta check the
film
schedule.
Master Zhang. So we'll check that out. Just wanted to get that On Location in. Great discussions. Go Pens. That's all I could say. Appreciate the baseball stats and counter stats and the stage of the game. Baseball was my first love. Still love the game. I'm no Smokin' Jim. I don't make up stories. I played. And we'll just end it on that. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully we entertained you. And nobody's mad at one another.
No, I'm not mad at all.
And this is what we want to do in your living room every Tuesday night. Have a nice discussion, opinions, facts, and whatever else Smokin' Jim brings in there that we can't verify. 17 verifications I need from him. I got -10 today, and that's 1 through 10. Please stay Joey strong.